Hello there, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tony.
I'm Kendall.
And today we're going to talk about everything that has to do with driving. And this is good for you whether you're just visiting Thailand or you plan on moving here. And I'm giving this to you from our experience. We've bought a car used and we bought a motorcycle new. And we've had to go through this whole process. For a while it felt like I was living at the Department of Land Transport, which is their version of the Department of Motor Vehicles. So the first thing I want to go over is international driver's license. If you do have an international driver's license and you're here on vacation, you can drive using your international driver's license. However, if you do plan on staying here for some time and you're not on a tourist visa, you will need to get a driver's license while you are here. And yes, there is a different driver's license for a car versus a motorcycle. I've had to get both and go through the process. So we're going to talk about that process. Now, getting your driver's license can be a tedious process, meaning you've got to study. You've got to know where to go. If you don't speak any Thai, it makes things a little bit more difficult. I'm only going to tell you the steps I did that worked for me. To get my visa and everything else, I've gone through a company called Assist Thai Visa. One of the services they have is to help you get your driver's license. They found a school for me to go to, and I will tell you the name of it. It's called KW Driving School, and that was in Chiang Mai. And I'm sure there's driving schools all over Thailand that you could go to. But let me tell you how that went for me. So I paid around, I think it's 1,500 baht. Which is
2,000 baht? I think it might have been 2,000.
There was a fee for using Assist Thai Visa.
Okay.
So it's around 1,500 baht to take the class, which is really cheap, somewhere around $45 US. So it's not bad at all. And it's 2 days long. The first day you go in, and if you're English speaking, they are going to put you in your own room on your own computer away from everyone else learning in Thai in a classroom, which I was fine with that.
You were the only one in that room, weren't you?
I was. So I was there with the computer and went through, they basically just feed you all the questions and you go through and answer it and you go at your own pace. There's some safety videos that you have to watch. So you're doing that for most of the morning. Then there was a break, and then we got to, and I was going there, by the way, for the motorcycle. So the next thing was we got on the motorcycles. They have some loaners there, so don't think you have to go out and buy one right away to go to the school. So I rode on their scooter, and they take you around a track, and they teach you a few things, nothing too hard. If you've never ridden one before, you'll be fine. But anyway, they go through a little course, lasts about an hour, and then you go back into the classroom, which again, we go over questions. Go home, and by the way, they will have you constantly do your thumbprints, which I never understood at the very end, but you do it periodically through the day to prove that you are physically still there and that you didn't just pay money to show up in the morning and then you really didn't go through all the trainings. It's kind of like a proof thing.
Right.
So on day 2, same scenario. You go in there in the morning, you take all the questions again with some safety videos, and you go out to the track one more time. She's only smiling because there's a part of it that I was just terrible at. That's in another video about 5 or 6 videos back where I couldn't go in a straight line. It was like a balance beam for a motorcycle, and I kept falling off, but that's okay.
I probably would have too.
I'm sure you'll do better than I did. And I really had no motorcycle experience before I got here, except for way back in my 20s for a short time. So anyway, you finish up your training on the second day, and it was around 2 or 3 o'clock. They stuck me on another computer, said take this test. It looked like all the other ones that I was doing, but it was the real thing. I passed it, and now I was done. They give you your paperwork, and you go into the Department of Land Transport, give them your paperwork, and their process is fairly easy. They take your picture, do everything, you pay your money, and you're good. But can you tell us a little bit about insurance, like what you need or what the prices are guesstimate wise?
Yeah, when we bought our motorcycle through Honda, we bought it new, and they offered a policy, and I think it was around $100 for a year, and it's probably not the greatest policy in the world, but it's what's required by Thailand. So it protects us, if we would get in a wreck, I think it protects like us up to so much and the other person up to so much. So it's a decent policy, covers what we needed it for.
What about the car policy? I know we purchased something different.
Yeah, we have a car policy. We got that through AXA Insurance through Robert Jackson. We've used him for our health insurance as well. He's awesome.
We'll put a link in the description.
I think that was about $100 as well.
For a year.
For a year. And that was we have a used car. It's like a 2008 or 9 Kia Picanto, so it's a little car. And he said because of the year, we could only get what's it called, liability
insurance.
But it is what we needed to have, so it does protect us over here.
So what liability insurance means, if you don't know, is if we get in an accident and our car gets all smashed up, nothing's covered, just the other person. Mm-hmm. So, and one person that's lived here a long time told me in Thailand that let's say you get in a wreck and it's not your fault, but you get into a wreck with a Thai national, that more than likely you're going to be at fault. And the reasoning behind it is if you weren't in the country, that accident wouldn't have happened. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I was told. Yeah. One other thing I want to bring up about getting licensed is there's 2 documents other than your passport that I know you need. Mm-hmm. A certificate of residency. Right. And you have to get that through immigration and have a picture of yourself on there. A little bit of a pain. Luckily, Assist Thai Visa did all that for me. They even took my photo.
Yeah, they did all the legwork.
And all the legwork. So that was real easy for me. But if you're going in to the immigration yourself, I can't help you. I don't know how that works. The other thing was... It's
a medical certificate that you have to have just showing that you're in decent health. And actually, there was a doctor's office about, maybe a block over from Assist Thai Visa, and I think they charged 50 baht and looked you over and signed the paperwork, and that's all he needed.
Yeah, it was kind of comical because it was just so easy. You just go in there, they took my heartbeat, my
blood pressure,
and
stuff.
Well, you're good.
Now you did need it for both. You need a separate one for your driver's license for a car versus a driver's license for a motorcycle. You'll have to have it for each.
Yeah, so I had to get a residence of certificate for the motorcycle, a residence of certificate, whatever I'm saying, for the car, and a doctor's appointment for one at each. Don't let somebody tell you have to go to a hospital. Because the first time I went 2 blocks away and had this done, it was real easy. The second time I went in, I got another girl. She's like, "Oh, you have to go to a hospital." I'm like, "No, isn't there somewhere about 2 blocks away?" And one of her coworkers is like, "Oh yeah, there's a place he can go." So there are little tiny places that you can go, walk right in, walk right out. I think other than the guy who was taking my blood pressure, I was the only other person there.
Yeah. Took maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, versus going into a hospital. That just seems a little overboard. But now for my car license, I did not go to school for that because they used my valid driver's license from my home country. If I did have a driver's license for a motorcycle, I could have used that here as well, but I only had a license in the USA for a car.
Right.
But I did, and now so for my driver's license, since I already had one, I did not take a written test for that one. All I had to do was
you had to go somewhere and watch some safety videos.
Yep.
Then you went back and did an eye test.
Yep, and that was it.
And then you got your license.
Yep. So if you have a driver's license, come here. Eye test, safety briefing that lasts like 45 minutes, and you're pretty much done. You just got to go through the rigmarole of going through the Department of Land Transport. Right. But if you don't have either, I guess you would have to go to school for both. I'm not sure about that. We can only tell you what we've been through. All right, now say you're coming to Thailand for a short time and you don't care anything about driving here, which I can't blame you because everybody drives crazy. So you can take some form of public transportation. There is something called a song tao. And what that is like a red...
It's like a pickup truck with a thing in the back for people to sit in.
Yep, so there's 2 rows, I guess a row of seats on the left and right, and you basically waltz up to them, negotiate the price, tell them where you're going, and then get in the back.
Now, there are different colors, though. I've mentioned red. There's red, yellow, white, and I think the different ones designate like different areas that they cover. Not 100%
Not 100%.
sure.
We've never taken one.
Right.
So, but I know the red ones seem to be the most common. The only con I'm going to say to this is a couple of things. And we found this out through other people. One, they see you're a foreigner, you're going to pay more. More than likely, they're going to offer you a higher rate than they would if a Thai was asking to go the same distance. And the other thing is, you're going to need to know the name of the place that you're going and hope that it translates over because they don't speak much English. So that's kind of a difficult thing there. So just wanted to give you a heads up on using the song taos. Another form that if you've researched Thailand at all, you know the tuk-tuk. The tuk-tuk is usually only used by tourists. You don't see very many locals using a tuk-tuk, and there's a reason for that. They're very expensive, and well, other than that, I know that the ones we've taken in Bangkok, instead of taking us where we asked them to, they kept trying to detour us, I'm going to guess, to one of the relatives' stores.
Like a store. Oh, you need to look in here.
Before we go wherever it is you want to
Yeah.
go, we need to stop over here first, over there. And when I said no, they weren't taking that for an answer. So
They still went there.
yeah, it was really aggravating. Now, when we were in Ayutthaya,
Yeah, that was great.
we didn't have a problem at all with the tuk-tuk drivers.
So we can't really speak to the ones in Chiang Mai because we haven't taken tuk-tuks here.
As a matter of fact, in Ayutthaya, we kind of had our own personal tuk-tuk driver.
Yeah, we did. He was so nice.
Yeah, every day he'd come pick us up and take us wherever we
Yeah.
wanted. We even bought him lunch.
That was back in 2016.
Yeah, so tuk-tuks are a lot of fun. I suggest you do it at least once or twice. But if you're in the bigger cities, just look out a little bit on the price and whether they're going to detour you to buy something from one of their friends.
And if you don't know what a tuk-tuk is, I don't know if you're familiar with Anthony Bourdain, but when he had his show in Chiang Mai, he was in a tuk-tuk around Old Town.
Yes, he was. Now, what I would suggest for you to use is it's an app, kind of like Uber. It's called Bolt, B-O-L-T, or Grab, G-R-A-B. Either one of them work fine. I will tell you a little hint, Bolt is cheaper. And not by a little bit, but Bolt is cheaper. And tell them the nice thing about using one of those.
The nice thing is you put in, you can be in the mall and you request one and it finds you a driver and it tells you what the price is going to be. Now there is one thing you have to know, Bolt versus Grab. Grab, you can use a credit card and it charges the credit card. Bolt, you have to have the money on you. So that's just one thing to know, but it is kind of nice. So you can be wherever it finds your location and they pick you up right there.
Right. So works just like an Uber. The things that make it so much easier is, you can pick out, I want to go here, and then find, of course, use the app, see how much it is to go to that spot. So therefore you get in the car and let's say they don't speak any English, they already know where you're going and you already know how much you're going to pay. And if you're wondering whether you tip or not, we always did. Not sure if it's the norm. And if you're wondering how much, we always tipped about
Between 20 to 40 baht, depending on how far we were going.
Now I want to talk to you a little bit about whether you should buy a car or a motorcycle. We bought both, so we can honestly say what the pros and cons from having each one is. What would you say one of the pros would be of having a motorcycle here?
Motorcycle is easier to get around, to find parking, especially in Old Town where parking is more at a premium. I would say that's one of the key things.
Yes, and I find it, because I'm driving both, I find riding a motorcycle a little bit easier. One, you can hear things going on, obviously because you're not inside of a car. So you got more awareness of what's going on around you. Motorcycles have, at least from the car we have, a lot more acceleration. Helps me to pull out and a little bit quicker. And like she said already, the parking is fantastic. The cons, right now we're in the rainy season Hence why we ended up getting a car.
Yeah, we hadn't planned to get a car when we first got
Right.
here.
It rains, and when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, you never know when it's going to start pouring.
So, we do have a rain poncho and all that stuff under the seat, but it's not much fun riding in the rain. So we did get a car. So that brings us to having a car here. Some of the cons of having a car here is a lot of the roads are very small.
Very
small.
narrow.
Yeah, these are the back roads, and you're like, well, I'm going to be doing mostly highway. Well, eventually you're going to get off the highway and you're going to end up on a road that's extremely narrow, which is another pro for the motorcycle. But as for a car, that is one of the cons to having one. But the pros are what you would imagine. When it rains,
Yeah.
you don't get wet.
You can go to the grocery store. You can put all your groceries
Groceries, right. So all that's wonderful. Now, whether you're thinking buy new versus buy used, we wanted to touch on that because we bought a used car, but a new motorcycle. So what would you say the pros from one to the other would be?
Well, the pros of buying a used car, of course, is it's a lot less money. It's a lot cheaper to get your car worked on here versus, like, we're from the U.S. versus the U.S.
So don't let the maintenance scare you.
Right. We wanted to make sure we got one that was in decent shape and had low mileage. So even though our car was a 2008, 2009, it only had, I think, 29,000 kilometers or something like that on it when we bought it. So that's one of the main pros to me.
Right. Not to mention on the tag, though, was kind of a con. The only reason I say that is you got to get a new tag, and you got to have your car inspected, and you have to have the tax sticker.
Right. So when he says tag, he's talking about the license plate.
Yeah, the license plate.
Right.
So you have to handle all that yourself, which means you're going back to the land transport office, you're filling out the paperwork.
Which is mostly in Thai.
Yes. Bring a friend that speaks Thai. I did. And you're going to have to go through that whole process. And getting the tag back takes about 30 days. We did drive, and we were able to drive with our previous tag, the previous owner's tag.
Previous plate that was on it. It was from Bangkok, so it was a Bangkok plate.
And we live in Chiang Mai, so we really needed a Chiang Mai plate. So anyway, just know that the paperwork is a little bit more. And we did have some car issues that we needed to get fixed, but it was absolutely cheap. One of them was a fuel leak, and the other one was the air conditioner.
The Freon had all leaked out.
Right, and I think both of the maintenance things cost right around $45. It wasn't bad at all.
And the thing for us about the used car too is it had some dings, and so we weren't worried. If you get a new car, you want to keep it looking nice and new. Around here, you're going to get dings, you may get bumped into. So we already started out with that, and we're like, okay, we aren't worried now about it. It's already been broken in.
And how many times have we been thankful we bought a little tiny car?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah. These people who drive these big trucks, I don't know how they do it.
I don't know.
They're probably a better driver than I am. So now we did buy the motorcycle new, and what's nice about that is, well, there's no maintenance issue. It's under warranty, and the tag was, of course, taken care of by the dealership.
Right. So we didn't have to go to the DMV for that.
Correct.
They actually just let us know, hey, it's ready. Come by and pick it up.
Yep.
Now that would have been great, but if you watched one of our previous videos, the first time the motorcycle was taken out with the plate on it, the plate flew off, so he had to go back to the land transport office and get a new plate.
The plate fell off because I didn't have any tools yet, so I finger tightened the thing on like a dummy, thinking it would stay on.
And then the next day he went to get the motorcycle, took the cover off. He's like, "Oh no, what happened to our plate?"
Now we're going to talk about driving in Thailand, what you can expect. Controlled chaos is what I would call it. And for those of you that are in the U.S., they do drive on the opposite side of the road as the U.S., and the car on the opposite side is where you're driving.
Right, the seat, it would be where the passenger seat would be in the U.S., that's the driver's seat here.
Yeah, so if you're coming from Europe, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
So some of the things that you need to get used to is, if you're driving a car or a motorcycle, is that motorcyclists are crazy. They're everywhere. You can be going straight, and I do not like veer to the left or right because the motorcycles are passing you like little mosquitoes. They're everywhere and you never know where they're going to be. And you'll have people walk, I mean like just walk out of a building right out in front of you and never even look.
Yeah.
Motorcycles pull out, not even looking. No, they're not using their rear mirrors. They're just pulling out.
Assuming that the cars see them, I
There's
guess.
a lot of assumptions going on here that everyone's looking, and that you won't hit them, which is kind of scary. I'm not even worried about me getting in a wreck here as much as I am somebody wrecking into me, because I am constantly aware and watching everything.
Like you said, you have to be 110% on alert.
Yeah, you can't daydream.
Defensive.
Another thing you need to look out for here, say there's 3 lanes. Got your middle lane, right lane, and left lane. The left lane a lot of times is used as a place to park the car. I don't know how many times I've been in that left-hand lane that I have to come right back out because somebody parked their car there. They just stopped there. Where that may be normal in most countries, I can tell you from where we were at in the U.S., which is South Carolina in the U.S., you didn't do stuff like that.
It was not legal to do that.
So watch that left lane. I try to stay in the middle lane if there's only 2 lanes. The passing lane's on the right. I like to stay on that right-hand lane. It's a little bit safer.
Yeah, so the passing lane here is in the right, whereas in the U.S. we're used to it being in the left. Now it's right lane. So
and yes,
opposite.
When I'm in that right lane, I am going fast. I'm not holding up traffic. That drives me crazy too. Now, traffic lights here. I thought in the U.S. there were long traffic lights, but here you could have a traffic light as long as...
Well, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah.
Some of them longer.
It's long enough for vendors to walk up and down and sell things, and there's a timer on some of the lights, so that it makes it convenient for them. They can look up and say, oh, I got 30 seconds left, keep selling.
So they sell like donuts and beads, and I've seen them even selling like little brooms and stuff.
Yeah, so don't be surprised at the duration of the traffic lights here. They are very long. The good part to that is that when it does turn green, it's a long green light.
Yeah.
So there's always a plus.
That's true.
Well, we really do appreciate you watching. And we really hope that you subscribe. We're a young channel. We need to grow. We would appreciate it if you would subscribe and like and hit the notification button. And we will see you soon. We will see you in the next video. And as we like to close out our videos by saying, Kap kun krap.